Hello and welcome to the Daily Meal for Thursday, the 4th of February 2021. Not a lot going on today, but we do have some comments from Gary Rowett about the transfers that didn't happen on Monday, transfer deadline day. So we start off with here. This is from the londonnewsonline.co.uk. This is South London Press's online website. And it says Millwall manager explains why outgoing deadline deals failed to happen. Millwall manager Gary Rowett has confirmed there was deadline day interest in some of his squad. Huddersfield Town were linked with a move for Matt Smith, who is out of contract at the end of the season. The big striker 31 has struggled to hold down a starting spot this season and played just 33 minutes of Championship football since the start of January. There were League One approaches for Shane Ferguson, who also sees his den terms expire at the start of January. Rowett said, "We had inquiries for one or two of our players. But firstly, the inquiries weren't really early enough or strong enough, and secondly, they were not players we were really prepared to let go unless we were able to strengthen the team in a different way. With 2 or 3 hours to go, that is always very difficult. Financially, if a club comes in with a percentage of a player's wages, it is very, very difficult to see it as brilliant for us. We weren't keen to let anyone go out unless we felt there was a chance to strengthen, because some of it was late or a little half-hearted. They weren't really things worth really considering." So that's, you can see there that someone coming from Matt Smith, another Championship team coming from Matt Smith, and League One teams coming for Shane Ferguson. And we believe that that was Portsmouth who came in for Shane Ferguson. It might even have been Charlton. It's all rumours so far. We don't really know, but the rumours going around are that it was either Portsmouth or Charlton who came in for Shane Ferguson. So we've got that. And at the other end of the spectrum, in terms of signing players that we missed out on, it says Millwall boss quiet over whether fresh moves will be made for January transfer targets. This is also from londonnewsonline.co.uk. It says Gary Rowett is remaining coy on whether Millwall will revisit moves for some of their January targets when the next window opens. The Lions saw their bid for Hibernian centre-back Ryan Porteous rejected, and were also keen on a deal for Motherwell midfielder Alan Campbell, who is out of contract in the summer. The Football Insider website claimed that Millwall and Coventry both failed with deadline day moves for Zulte Waregem defender Cameron Humphreys, but the South London Press understands no approach was made. Rowett said, "We had some really good targets, a couple of young players in Scotland who have done really well at their clubs, and we saw real potential for the future, not necessarily right now. The offers that were made were rejected by their clubs, and the clubs have every right to do that. They are contractually tied to the club. Whether they are players we will pursue in the summer remains to be seen. We had some very good targets, and we cast our net pretty wide. There were also players abroad as well as in the UK. There was a lot we tried to pursue, and that's what I was really saying about us being really proactive. We're pretty happy with what we did. There were a couple of striker options on the last day, as usually happens, but there was never quite enough movement in the market to free up 1 or 2 players. Millwall were also one of the clubs to try and land Alex Mowat, but we reported early in the window that the Barnsley captain was set to run down the final months of his terms, opening the door to lucrative personal terms as a free agent in the summer. The Lions added Mikel Keftenbeld on a free transfer for Birmingham City. George Evans, who can play central defence and a midfield anchoring role, also arrived on a permanent from Derby. Asked about Mowat, Rowett replied, "It is an awkward one when a player is out of contract at the end of the season. If an agent is doing his job, he's going to see what interest is out there in January, as he is legally able to talk to other clubs about a pre-contract. If a pre-contract is done, then great. If not, our club's prepared to sell now. But if the player hasn't got a real value, then you get an issue for a club." We had it with Lee Gregory a couple of seasons ago. You see what you can get now if he has made it clear he is not resigning and has just rejected contract offers. If you feel there is a fair value in January, let him go. If it doesn't meet the valuation of the club, you decide to just keep them and let them go on a summer for free in the summer. There are 1 or 2 out there, the likes of Alex, who are really good players out of contract at the end of the season. When agents ring you, then you're going to have that interest, but it didn't quite come to anything. So most of what we already expected was just confirmed there, that Ryan Porteous, the bid was in, Alan Campbell, the bid was in, and Alex Mowat they tried to sign as well. But what we didn't see, there were a couple of striker options on the last day. So we were trying to sign a striker on the last day. Maybe there were a couple of strikers we could have signed, but because they couldn't get a player out to save some money in wages, they couldn't bring a player in to replace him. And they can't bring a player in because apparently he said at the start of the window he had the funds available for 2 players, and that's what we got with George Evans and Mikael Keftenbeld. So if we were able to get Shane Ferguson or Matt Smith out, we may have signed another striker who may have kept us in the league by scoring the goals that we're lacking. There's not really any idea of who those strikers were. Maybe if we look around and see which strikers signed for Championship teams on the transfer deadline day, maybe it was one of them. Maybe it's just the player who's out of contract in the summer. Clubs are trying to get rid of him now because they need the money. We don't know. Just have to speculate until we find out. Anyway, that was it for today. Thank you. Bye bye.